Okay, this is the equivalent resistance series lab. Okay, so the first thing I need to talk about is this device here. This is called a multimeter. Has different settings. Down here is where we'll measure resistance. Has a symbol, it looks like a horseshoe, it stands for ohms. And it goes from different scales. This is 0 to 400. This is 0 through 4,000, it says 4K. Answers will, or display will be anything from a decimal all the way up to 4.0. Beyond that, it'll go off limits. It'll say OL. The setting for here is 40K. So that's the maximum it would read. It would be 40 point whatever, 40.0. This is 400K. So 400.0 is the maximum. This is 4M, that stands for mega, so that's million, so 4 million ohms is the maximum. And then finally here, this setting is 400 mega ohms, or 400 million. There's other settings that we won't use right now, but up here it says A, and that's for measuring current flow. Over here it says V, it's for measuring voltage. There's lots of other things it can measure. It's called a multimeter because it can do multiple different things. The important thing is that when you are measuring different things, let's say current flow, the black wire here, or one of the wires, usually I use the black one, it doesn't really matter, but this black one stays in the common, and the red one will move. So for instance, if I want to measure current flow, I would stick it over here. You'll note that if I'm measuring resistance and it stays there where it shouldn't be, it will start beeping at you. That's because you can break the multimeter. If you want to measure 20 amperes, again, you could kind of break the multimeter. You need to move this over into the 20 amperes setting. If you want to measure voltage, again, it's not set right. It's voltage has to move the red wire over to here, and now it is set appropriately. You can measure voltages. If you want to measure resistances like we were doing today, the black wire is here, the red wire has to be here where it says ohms. Okay. So I'm going to turn this off for now. The resistors we are going to be using today are all the same. They're all the same color, and I'm not sure if you can see the colors bands on here, but it's brown, black, yellow, and then there's one far over, it's a gold band. So these are all the same, okay? And so we're going to be measuring individual resistances. You have to look up, based on the colors, you have to look on the color code chart to figure out what the resistance is and the plus or minus factor. But we're going to use the multimeter to measure the resistance of each one. So let me go ahead and move this. And I'm going to put it on the initial one of 400 ohms. And let's just take the two probes and touch across here. Let's see, move this further forward. Touch across here. And it says off limits. That means it's beyond 400 ohms. So let's try 4K. It's also off limits. So let's try 40K. So the maximum here is 40,000. Off limits as well. So let's try 400K. And finally, we get a reading there. So that reading stands for 98.9 thousand. There's a K there. So that's 98 98.9 thousand, or 98,900. Okay, that's the one resistor. Let's try resistor 2. I'm just going to cross resistor 2 here. Okay. And it reads 98.3, so 98,300. And let's go across resistor 3 now. This is 98.3 as well, so that's 98,300. Resistor 4, 98.2, that's 98,200. Resistor 5, that's 100.1, 100,100. And then the last one, resistor 6, is 98.6, that's 98,600. Okay, so you know what the actual resistance is for each one. Now what we want to know is what is the total resistance for instance, if I go just one resistor, what's the total resistance? When I go across 2, what's the total resistance? When I go 3, what's the total resistance? 4, and so on. Because what I want to graph, I want you to graph, is the total resistance versus the number of resistors in series. Okay, so here's just one in series. And the total resistance is 98.9, so 98,900. Okay, now 2 resistors in series. The total resistance is 197,300. 3 resistors in series. 295,600. 4 in series. 393,700. No, 800. Sorry, 393,800. 5 of them in series. Oh, off limits. So I'm gonna have to switch this up to 4 meg. So 5 of them in series. Okay, that would be 0.494 mega ohms. Okay, so mega is a million, so 0.494 times a million, that would be 494,000 ohms. Okay, then finally 6 of them in series. Oops, sorry. That's 0.592 mega ohms, 0.592 mega ohms, or multiplied by a million, that's 592,000 ohms. Okay, so I want you to graph that and see what the relationship is you get.